Hello and welcome back to the Cocked Dice. In this week's conversion, I'm going to tackle one of the more unusual chapters of the Warhammer 40,000 universe. This week, we're tackling the Legion of the Damned, a mysterious chapter of Space Marines who appear unbidden when all hope seems lost. Now, what I really want to do with these guys this week is I'm going to focus less on the kind of skull element that you often see on Legion of the Damned and a bit more on the fire and fury elements. So, let's have a look at the bits. Key ones, obviously an intercessor. Just need a body. I've got an easy build one here, but you can essentially use any intercessor you like. I'm going to do much the sergeant just because it's easy. The only odd bits I've got is I've got a Reaver helm, so that's my nod to skeletonness, and that's it. I've grabbed a Chaos shoulder pad for this. It doesn't really matter about the symbol. That'll get covered up in some of my conversion work anyway. I really wanted it because it's got the kind of band on it that matches to an extent the one that's on this Assault Intercessor. What you're mainly going to need is some Nighthaunt. We want these for the raggedy cloth and one's hiding underneath here, these little kind of flame bits that are on around the bottom of the miniatures and the base. And then the only other piece I've got this week is from the Fire Slayers kit. I've had these in my collection for ages, since I used to collect Age of Sigmar. We want these end pieces. That's all we need from these, and they're going to replace some of the vents on the backpack, I think. So that's it. Let's take it away. So the first job tonight is get the Intercessor built, just his front and back torso, and we'll get him on a base. He's going to swap out these rounded vents on the Intercessor's backpack and replace them with these fiery end pieces from the Fire Slayer. So the first step is pretty easy. We're just going to remove these vents. So that's that. Next, I'm going to do the same on these guys. Just clip the ends off. Keep the chains sticking back in the bits box. They're always useful. So once you've got these nice and level with the back of this, we're just going to drop a bit of glue on here and get these glued together. Now I'm going to position them with the crosses on a slight angle, and the flames billowing backwards very slightly away from the model. We'll pop that to one side for a moment, let it dry off for a little bit. We'll go back to his body. I want to remove the chest eagle, because we want to do a bit of battle damage to these guys. They've been through the wars, they come in out of wherever they appear from, the warp of some sort. So we're just going to take a knife and very carefully scrape down. Might leave the skull in the centre, I think. Just cut around that. Otherwise, just very carefully strip down this layer by layer. Try not to go too deep, like I've just done. Just like that. Clean it down, and then give it a bit of a scrape to get rid of the excess. I'll be back in a minute when it's clean. So there we have it. That's the chest eagle removed. Next, we're going to start adding some battle damage. Now, if I pull out this Chaos Space Marine shoulder pad, you can see the kind of nicks we want to replicate in the rest of this armour. So you're just going to take a little nick in, essentially just cutting little V's in the armour and kind of carry it around a little bit. So you've got a nice clear chip in there. And we're going to mess up some of the armour all the way around and give a collection of different bits of battle damage. Okay, so we've done a few scratches and we're going to do a couple of bullet holes as well. I've got my pin vise drill with the largest drill bit I've got in it, and we're just going to drill a little dimp in it, not a hole, just looking for a shape like that. And then if you want to give them a little bit of a edge on them, you can just chip out a little bit, tiny little marks from them where it's impacted on the armour, and essentially the bullet has just shattered against the armour. These are, after all, wearing power armour, and it is renowned for keeping Space Marines alive. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to pop this guy to one side again, and we'll work up his arm as well, make sure that's got plenty of battle damage on it. So in much the same way, we're going to use the shoulder pad as an example, and we'll take some chips out of this shoulder here. Just different size nicks from the armour all around the place. Obviously this guy will never have served in the Indominus Crusade, so we'll just remove this entirely. And now we've got it nice and smooth, we'll add some nicks to it. And a couple of bullet holes to his shoulder pad. Now, one thing to bear in mind with Space Marines, and obviously the Legion of the Damned is no exception, they ain't going to get shot in the back that often. So all the battle damage and scrapes and scrapes are going to be on the front of this model. So that's the main bit of battle damage, so we're going to start putting this guy together and just build the pose up a little bit. So we'll get his sword arm on, and his pistol arm, his shoulder pad on. So the next bit is we're going to start adding some more fire effects to him. Nighthawk models are fantastic for this. They've got loads and loads and loads of kind of flame effects and bits of cloak that will do to make it look like fire. So these bits on the edge of the base are always brilliant. So I've got 1, 2, and I've got another small one here. So I'm just going to cut the base off very gently here. And then I'm going to take this one here because I don't really want that extra bit. And then just round it out a little bit. So this piece is going to go on his sword, and we're going to trim off this little piece here, and we'll stick it on. So we're going to start to layer up these round his body, and we're going to add a little one down his leg. Now the important bit with messing around with the flames is they all kind of want to go upright. So you may need to shape the bottom of them a little bit, or shape them around the armour just a tad, so they fit neatly and close to the model. For some bigger flames, using the bottom of the cloaks is a really great idea. You can see these are quite nice long flames, and I think I shall add some coming off his backpack over here. So again, we'll just take the knife, we'll cut across here, and I'm going to slim out the back of this one, and I think that side's the more interesting side. Fit it onto his shoulder, right when I've just put that battle damage, unfortunately. But hey ho. You want to get this end as thin as possible so that it's going to fit really smoothly with the armour, and that's the kind of hardest bit of this. You need to essentially get it to merge with the armour as evenly as possible. You can do a little bit of work afterwards to break it up. You may also want to just take some little scoops out of it so it's not as even as the cuts you made. It makes it appear like it's coming out the armour a little bit. Of course, I completely forgot to get rid of that chaos symbol earlier. Apparently that's not quite glued on yet. So before it glues it entirely, I'm going to do the same with the symbol here as I did with the chest piece. We're just going to scrape this off. I'll pop his head on now, just so we can start getting a feel for which way he's looking. I think I'll just add some final flames onto this shoulder I've just cleaned up here. So again, we'll get the bottom of one of the Nighthawk kits here. That one looks like it'll go that way fairly well. Cut it just across here. And as we did with the other one, we're just going to scrape across, cut across here, thin it out as thin as possible, try and get some of the curve of the shoulder pad on it. So I think we'll call that guy done. So all I'm going to do, once the adhesive is dried and these are nicely stuck down, I'm just going to scrape back onto them and try and blend these together as evenly as possible. Try and make it appear like the flame is appearing essentially out of the armour. Any areas that are currently fairly clean, I might just give a bit more battle damage to. But other than that, I'm going to call him done, and if you hang around for a minute, there's a painted video of him coming up right now. And thanks for joining us here at the Clock Dice. Why not like this video and add a comment below? It really helps boost the channel. And while you're at it, if you click on the icon below, you can subscribe to the channel for all the latest updates as soon as they're live. Why not check out some of our other videos and playlists? You can click on the ones on screen right now. Take care, and we'll see you next time.